Somehow the shop has become a disaster again. I think it's time for some more organization. With the last shop upgrade, I lost my dowel storage, so it needs to find a new home. And I also need to find a new home for all the other scrap wood bins and buckets and piles I have all over the shop. So this corner is going to be it. Why is it when you start cleaning, you end up making more of a mess? I had actually intended today to just be about building a bin for the dowel storage. But when I started in on it, I started sorting this bin and then that bin, and then I got into this random bin under the desk, which is in the way of the downdraft table soon to be built, and it just kind of snowballed, and everything got sorted. Might as well do this one as well. I had to build the other shop back in here so I can have some sort of dust collection for the chop saw. I wonder what I could build out of all this. Some nice hardwoods. A lot of softwood. I think we'll just put it away for now. Somehow it's all gonna fit on these 3 shelves. Now that that's taken care of, I can actually do what I meant to be starting today. Dowel storage. Like usual, I went on Pinterest and just looked up some ideas of sorting and all that. And I found this one posted by one of the big magazines. But it was designed as 3 foot by 4 foot, and that was just way too big. It was never going to fit in my shop. So I designed one that would fit within the constraints of a 4 by 8 sheet, about 2 feet by 2 feet. This way I was able to do things like cutting sheets in half one direction and half the other direction, and getting the 2 sides out of one panel, the front and the back out of the other, bottoms out of the other, and so on. I put a half lap joint on both ends of the front and back, this way that it would give a nice clean look and a little more structure to the frame. And then I lined them up and decided how big I wanted my little squares of my box to be, and made sure that the slots matched on both sides. I decided on squares that were about 7 inches. It didn't really matter if they were 100% equal on all 3 boxes, as long as the 2 outside were equal to each other. It allowed me to just flip the boards around and run them through. I ended up doing 2 passes just because the material I was going to use was just a slight bit thicker than my blade. Nice clean fit, and everybody lines up. Once that was done, I started on doing the same thing for the 2 side pieces, except this time my material would be the same thickness as the actual sides. I did this to give it strength, but also to give it a bit more room in the actual boxes. I figured the pieces that go side to side would probably have a lot more stuff leaning against it, and so putting a 3/4 inch material in there would be better. And thinner dividers running front to back would still give me more room in the box. Because of my design, my front and back dividers would fit out of one piece. So I ended up doing the same sort of cuts I'd done on the front and back, which would match up with theirs. Except I didn't pay attention to the fact that my grooves couldn't be quite as deep, because if it was, I'd only have 1/8 of an inch material. But I did figure out how to fix this afterwards. With shallower grooves this time, I cut the piece in half so that I'd have my front and back panels. And then it was time for assembly. Pretty simple, a whole bunch of glue, slotting things together, nails, some screws afterwards. Pretty simple. In order to fix my error of cutting the slots too deep on the dividers, I ended up using the piece that was going to be the bottom, so I ended up using the piece that was going to be the side for the bottom. I added casters to the bottom as well as screws to hold the bottom on, and also to the front and back to hold them to the sides, just to make it a bit stronger. And just because it's a scrap bin, doesn't mean it can't be a pretty scrap bin. So I cut up some nice pine, so they could put a little bit of edge banding just around the top. I also cut up the dividers that would run from front to back. It was just a simple piece of MDF, just enough to hold things apart. I cut them so that they would be below the top and bottom divider, so that my nice piece of pine would just cleanly go on top of everything. Now that my box was getting to be complete, I put in one last touch, and that was to shorten one of the boxes just so that my short dowels wouldn't completely disappear to the bottom and I wouldn't be able to see them. 8 inches versus 18 inches is a big difference, and you're never going to find that 8-inch dowel. Well, it took all day, and there was a few extra projects thrown in just for good measure, but doesn't it look beautiful? I managed to get all of it to fit over here, and the rest of my shop is free of random material. Don't look at the log right now. But see, it's all nice and clean. I can get to my workbenches, I have room for my downdraft table to be built, I have room for other things to be built. I think it looks awesome. Although the article shows the slightly larger size of this box, I'll link it below so that you can take a look. It's not that hard to figure out how to just get it a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger, just depending on your dimensions. And if you want to see more wood chip list videos, then by all means click something here and like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!